you know what we do have? We have a new Blender release that happened last week. Blender 5.1.2 came out. Yep, the second corrective release of Blender 5.1 wasn't planned, but there was a need for it. There was 12 bug reports. Some of them were really bad, like crashes on certain systems. So the team was like, okay, might as well release a new version. So if you go to blender.org, you'll see that the latest release at the moment is 5.1.2, released on May 19th. It only contains 12 bug fixes. So if you want to know exactly what happened, what changed, you can go to the release notes in developer docs 5.1 and then corrective releases down here. You will see the list of 12 issues. Nothing really big. If you haven't had any issues before, that's fine. All right, next. We also have some news regarding the Blender platforms. You know, Blender tries to be as open source as possible, not Blender the software, but also the foundations, the everything really, even the people here. One of the platforms that Blender maintains, you know, is the YouTube platform, but also, I don't know if you knew, Blender also has a open source YouTube, which is video.blender.org. Video.blender.org. It's a mirror basically of all the Blender things going on, all the videos, the conference, pretty much everything that is on the YouTube channels. So these also the Blender developers and pretty much everything, including a new update. And it's also federated, and you know you can this is PeerTube, so it's a server that Blender maintains for PeerTube, using PeerTube as the platform, but it's federated, so it should be in other places as well. Reachable, all these videos should be reachable in other PeerTube instances as well. Federation. Okay, next we do have a new video on Singularity, on the making of Singularity, which is super nice. It's if you have watched Singularity before, this is a good way to, you know, spoilers though, so don't watch it if you haven't watched Singularity. Go spend 6 minutes in there and then 12, 16, 17 minutes on this one afterwards. Super nice. So I'm gonna share it with you on let's see how YouTube likes me to share PeerTube videos with you. Let's see. Okay, let's see. What else is new? That's it. I think let's get to it, because today there is like 77 changes that I need to address here. So let's go one by one. Let's start with A for Alembic. Yeah, Alembic. So we have the first change. Oh, last episode I mentioned there was a new update on Alembic to support camera visibility without animation. I take that back. Animation is now supported via F-curves on camera visibility in Alembic when importing Alembic. So that's it. So that it solves some issues from 9 years ago. Wow. So pretty nice to see Alembic used there, because it's what the industry is using. You know, everybody praises that says that the future is USD, but in real life people use a lot Alembic. Okay, next. That's it. So this is for 5.2, so it's good to see the 5.2 is getting all of it together. Then the next section, that's it for Alembic. So let's talk about animation. In animation, there's a bunch of changes actually. One, this is mostly a PSA, it's a change in the default of the preference to insert keyframes only on available keyframes, curves. So this is a change that was discussed in the animation rigging module meeting, which anybody can attend, by the way, if you want to get involved. This, it's a change to the default. So if you notice something different, this might be it. Only insert keyframes on already existing curves, channels. Next, Wayne added a redo panel when adding a bone. So when adding individual bones, now you have some settings in the bottom left of the editor, the viewport, where you can set the name, space, alignment right there as you edit, length, and if it's gonna deform or not. So the UI might look slightly different because now it says deform, but that's it. This is awesome. Thank you, Wayne, for adding this to Blender. Wayne from CG Cookie. And Jonathan Lampold is also working on Blender stuff. So now we have CG Cookie helping not only for making training and feature videos, but also actual code. So nice. Okay, let's. The make it explicit that allow negative frames can cause issues. Yes, so allow negative frames is a setting that it's in Blender for a while. It allows you to basically scroll back and forth between. Let's look at it in Blender actually. How's the chat, by the way? Are there any bots already? Any spam? Any fun stuff going on there? I'll show you here. We're in the interface, no, animation, and then in animation, advanced. This setting, allow negative frames, was elsewhere. I don't remember exactly where. I think it was somewhere in timeline, but now it's in its own sub panel because it's something you wouldn't change that much. And then it has this thing that tells you, hey, if you really want to enable this, sure, but it can cause issues with audio playback and exporters. So it's a warning, nothing really changed. Let's see. So there are some bots. 3 bots. Beep bop, beep bop. Please don't get a Blender Today communities. Nah, that's... Well, we are basically not getting rid of it because it's not... it's really old, an old website to update. Remove Anthropic and stop selling our data, says Mywus. Which data? Blender doesn't know anything about you. Really. Blender doesn't track you, doesn't anything. The only thing that Blender has to connect to the internet by default is the extensions, which only checks for extensions. It's a JSON somewhere on a server that it's read only. It doesn't write anything, doesn't know anything about you. It just knows that, hey, somebody is asking which extensions are available. So that comment does not apply. Next. Implement transformable API. Well. This is a under the hood change that has a lot of potential because it's an under the hood change. It's an API to have generic API to transform stuff, right? Bones, but also objects, which means that the tools that you're currently using for setting, like you have 2 poses and you have one of those slider controllers, for example, to set which kind of the pose you want, which end of the pose. Well, that it's only available for bones, but with this it could be extended to work on objects or anything really, which means is it related to joint rigging or isn't? Because sounds like it is. Pretty interesting. So yeah, basically many of the tools for animation will be available for objects. Let's see. Local, oh wow, graph editor. Yeah, we do have news all over the place. A graph editor has now local view, the same shortcut, slash, and allows you to preview. Let's see it in action. Come on, how often do we get news in the graph editor? So this one, thanks to Pratik, we go to the graph editor, we got a keyframe, and now let's see, I have this awesome curve, and I can press, and I have other curves, right? So I can move this around, and let's say I press slash, boom. Oh, it even animates. So it's smooth animate. That's cool. So now it's a local view. Ooh. Okay, this says local view. Yeah, I mean, we do that local. And now it says local view, but it's behind, it can be hard to see. Where else would we put it though? In the channels list? Also, maybe? Yeah, that's a good question. I didn't think about this. Because it can be a bit strange to hmm hmm something to think about. I think it is fine for now. Is it fine for you? I like when things are very obvious. Next, thank you, Pratik, about this. And another one by Pratik. This is a design task that I made long time ago. Just hoping one day somebody would pick it up. This I was working with the F curves modifiers. There was a new modifier, so I was adjusting them, and I noticed that when there are some new modifiers that are only supported at specific places. Even not so new modifiers that only work on specific places in the stack. So first or last, like for mesh modifiers. Well, for example, the cycles and the smooth modifiers only work when they are first in the stack. So this feature, this change, this improvement makes it so if the modifier is not where it should be, the thing will be full red and you should tell at a glance. Then you expand it and you do get a text that says modifier disable. Why does it say that? That's okay, maybe there's things we can improve. So let's see. Add modifier, cycles, add modifier, built-in, so cycles, I put it down. Modifier disabled because it's not first in the stack. You see, I didn't review this. If I would have reviewed this, I would have voted or tried to come up with a way shorter phrase here, like a sentence, because usually the default size doesn't fit it, and we should try always to fit it there. So you don't need to say because. You can say like modifier must be first in the stack, period. So modifier must be first, so it would be like this long, and it would totally fit. I will get this. So when in 5. Oh, Pratik is here. Oh no, I didn't see him. Okay, anyway, let's see. Let's move on. I'm gonna give this feedback. So in 5.2, when you try this feature, hopefully it's gonna be shorter. What else? What else? Current frame in motion pads. Well, motion pads are a feature that really it's looking for. It needs to be improved, right? We all know that. But there was a mode in motion pads that it looked broken. It was kind of broken, so it has been removed. There was a mode in these pads that basically you had the motion path and then you move a bone and it will be connected to that, like pulling it down, and it just didn't make any sense because it's not the final form. So now it doesn't have that mode anymore because it didn't work. So just a heads up. And the last change in the animation related changes allow select key by type in the graph editor. We've seen this feature in the previous episode, I think. Now it's I think it was in the in the dope sheet, and now in the graph editor. Follow up to this just modifies the poll to set the operators can also be called in the graph editor. Oh wow, even better when things work out of the box almost. Cool, awesome. Thank you, Christoph. Let's see what else. All right, it's done with the animation. A for assets. Okay, well, it's time to talk about online assets. This feature has finally graduated from the experimental planet school. So now if you don't have to do anything really, as long as you have internet enabled, then you go to, well no, if you have internet enabled in system, allow online access,